generation of complexity from single very simple element. Okay. What are the techniques that I use to start from simple elements to create complexity? So for this purpose, I just select 4 sounds taken from the sample pack, which are gonna be this one. Very simple. And then also I got drum and bass loop like this. So this is complex perks generator, and for the moment just focus on the first chain. I've imported all these sounds that I've just shown you into a sampler. We got 5 elements. Okay. The idea is to have a chain that creates every time different results, every time that we hit also the same note. So I see more like a playground kind of exploratory moment where I generate sounds that later I'm gonna decide which one and how I'm gonna incorporate them into a loop. So my main goal with this rack is to create a situation when I can have a maximum variety out of the minimum amount of ingredient. Okay. The principles behind this rack is the use of this delay with the repitch modality on. I basically have cloned the first rack, which is a sampler, basic sampler. I cloned it so we have like 2 couples of the same one. The first one, let's say, is gonna be the dry version. The second one is gonna be the full wet version. And as you can see from the delay, it's gonna be full wet. And I also attached an LFO to the timing. And since the repitch mode is on, we are gonna have also variation in pitch as a tape delay will do. And when we crank the feedback up, it's gonna do really interesting stuff. So I've done this to the second chain, and the third one is the same, but one is gonna be like more geared towards shorter delays, while the first one is more towards longer ones. So we have a different kind of behavior with the same sounds. This is like the main concept behind this rack, and I've done few mappings, as you can see, mainly on the transposition. So every time the sample can be transposed up or down each of one of the chains. So we got 3 different chains doing basically the same behavior but with different values. I've decided to select decide the selection based on the sample selector. So I'm gonna what I've done is that I've macro mapped this chain selector and put it here on this sample selector, and we have the same for each one. Okay. Then I want, since now we have the possibility to have up to 16 macros with Ableton 11, I went up with the idea of having more and more randomization. So I went on and mapped also the amount of the pitch envelope and the decay. After all this, introduction. So I'm gonna press okay. all the times I'm pressing the same note, not changing octaves for the moment, just showing you how every time it's gonna sound very, very different. Which is very important. Before the chain, I've got this Woulg. It's a Max for Live device made by a great sound designer called Woulg. And basically what it does is every time you press a different note, it's gonna randomize the value. For example, I was noticing that the feedback was going down some of the time, so I thought that this parameter wasn't something that I was going to want to randomize, so I just gonna keep this high because it's gonna be part of the kind of technique of this you know, complex sounds. So I'm gonna randomize the other ones, and let's try again now. This was just pressing one note and keeping holding for some time. See what's gonna happen. Okay, and now I'm gonna try the same thing but going up and down in octaves to explore a bit what's happening in this chain. So I'm gonna go down in octave now. Now I'm gonna go up very, very high in octaves to see what's happening. Okay, so this is kind of the sound that you can create with this rack. Something that I noticed was that some sounds were very low in volume, some were much higher. So I thought to create a mixing tool chain also to glue them a bit together. So I did some hybrid reverb with a small touch of OTT, which is, as you know, upward compression, downwards compression. So let's hear with the chain on. And the cool thing is that once you've done your own rack with this kind of technique, you can change the samples and put something else, and every time you're gonna end up with really different sounds based on the ingredients that you are gonna put into the machine. So different ingredients, different results. In this case, we had these percussive sounds, which to be honest are the ones that I prefer to use for this situation because I think they are the most suitable.